Good day, everybody. This is the Ecclesiarch here, back with some more Warpforge, and I am delivering yet another tier list to you guys. And this time it is going to be a legendary card tier list, and I think this is going to be super useful to all of you. Maybe you're just beginning the game and you have no idea what are some good legendary cards, and especially like considering we have a wild card system in Warpforge, you might really be stuck on what you want to craft. Or you might be a player who's been playing the game for a while, but just really want to see what legendaries you want to get for the new faction that just started, right? Or maybe you're just a veteran player just here to check out what I think and how much it coincides with your opinion. In any case, I believe this is going to be a very useful little resource to you, for you guys. Now, a quick thing that I do want to tell you is that don't forget this is just my personal opinion. I'm of course going to try to give you arguments to convince you why I think so and why I think this is correct, but just keep in mind, take everything with a grain of salt. This is just my opinion, and if you disagree or think otherwise a little bit, for example, you can leave a comment and I'll happily see your opinions as well. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it and let's take a look at the tier list. So we got Get It ASAP, so legendaries that are first priority. The second priority, also very important legendaries. Situational means like good legendaries but not something you want to prioritize. I have extra crystals means like okay legendaries that are maybe not that good, you just want to pay if you just have extra resource to get them. And this is like the worst legendaries in the game, which the only reason you might want to get them is if you already have everything else and you're just waiting for it to get buffed, so you buy them in advance. Now, let us start off with the Ultramarines, and the first one is Marneus Kalgar, and this is going straight into Get It ASAP. Now, guys, this is not because of his current standing on the ladder. Yes, currently he is one of the best warlords in the game, but apart from this warlord is a very good package overall. It's a 40 HP warlord, so it has a very high health, and its ability is to draw a card. Now, a lot of players say that that's a trash ability and that's like nothing compared to some of the other abilities. I couldn't disagree more. Like when you're playing in a card game, the ability to draw cards and always get the ability to refresh your hand, I think is like with extra resources, is a very, very good power indeed. That is exactly why this warlord is relevant even when the faction is not doing too good. The only time when Marneus Kalgar would be a bad investment would be if the faction is so nerfed on the ground that it's unplayable. The warlord itself is a very, very good package overall with 40 HP and a very good talent. So this is something that you always want to be getting first when you play the Ultramarines. Now, with Captain Sicarius, he has been buffed recently. Now he actually provides healing to himself with Codex, and he also gains a Vanguard through the Codex, and he also gets a talent. He would go into a situational card now for me, because he's not that bad. He's not really that good either, because he's still pretty slow and pretty costly, so he doesn't go into the priority list. But if you're playing like a late game big marine control deck, this could be a very good addition to your collection. Just the problem once again is that it's slow, it costs a lot, so it's not that one legendary that's gonna win you a lot of games. With Avenging Zeal, it goes into second priority. Now, the reason why this goes into second priority is that I think the first priority cards are a little bit better. Avenging Zeal currently is a very, very powerful tool. It is specifically designed to go with the aggro Ultramarine build. Really strong card. Once you are able to pull this off, it just complements the aggro gameplay of the Ultramarines immensely because of the damage boost that it provides. I believe that Avenging Zeal is one of the top priority cards right now. It might get nerfed in the future. I don't really think it needs a nerf, maybe. I'm not sure, to be honest. It hasn't been annoying me too much when I face Ultramarines. I think there are different problems that the Ultramarines might have. So overall, I would put this in second priority. I think this is a pretty good and strong card that you want to be getting down the line. Same would go with Epistolary Librarian. Now, Epistolary Librarian is similar to Captain Sicarius when it costs a lot and comes into late into the game. However, it has a very good codex. It draws you a card, it gives shield to your warlord, so it enables trades, it gives you more resources. It has a very good combo with tactical insight because it can draw you multiple cards and give you multiple shields. So it is the late game legendary for the Ultramarines. With Avenging Zeal, I don't consider this an late game legendary because the guy's cheaper every time you trigger Codex. So you usually play this for a very low cost. For the high cost legendaries of the Ultramarines, I think Epistolary Librarian is definitely the way to go. Now, Sergeant Tilion as well as Antaro Kronos are going to go into I have extra crystals. Now, I'll explain why, and you might especially be surprised with Antaro Kronos. Sergeant Tilion is just way too slow for what it does. Not way too slow. What I mean is like is way too fragile. So it's a 5 energy card with 2 melee attack and 5 health. So this can very easily be removed. Of course, it does have camouflage, which protects it from hard removal, but it has 2 melee attack and 5 health. It is just way too fragile for the sniper that it gives your units. Yes, in some situations you can drop it and it can make a very nice trade, but it's very, very situational. So I don't think that it takes priority over any of the other legendaries that I have placed here. Now that I think about it, I'm a little bit too hard on Antaro Kronos. I'm going to actually put this in situational. Antaro Kronos is also not that good. Main problem with this card is that when you drop it, mostly it just gets removed instantly. And if it sticks around, it does give you some nice value, but not insane type of value. This is more about the late game combo with vehicles you can do. You can drop it and maybe drop a copter like on full energy, and it can make a very nice combination. So actually, yeah, I think I'm being a little hard on this guy. I would even put it better than Sicarius. Yeah, it's not a priority, but it's certainly something good that can complement your vehicle build. The same going with Battlefield Supremacy. It can still not be your second priority, but it's definitely a situational card for a situational build that works really, really well. Because if you want to play like vehicle Ultramarines, that's what you really want to get. Now, as for these cards, the problem with the Epistolary Librarian is that no matter what kind of deck you're playing, this is always a good card. So yeah, that's why I think it does go into second priority. The other first priority is going to be the Humanity Shield. Every Ultramarine deck needs to have this. If you're not using this, either you don't have it or you're making a big mistake. Humanity Shield is one of their best cards because it gives you that one turn of immunity that can really win you the games, especially crucial in mirrors. So that's exactly why this goes into first priority while these guys go into the second one. So I think this is how it would look for me. You could even crank down Sicarius into I have extra crystals. You know, when I think about it, I think this goes down to I have extra crystals. So it's better than Sergeant Tilion for sure, but yeah, I think I'm kind of messed up by putting him equal to these guys, so I think I'll put it down here. Tilion is by far their worst legendary, but I wouldn't still put it into this tier because it can still be useful in certain situations. So yes, we're definitely going to have the Ultramarines based like this. Now, as for the Orks, now the Orks are a tricky bunch indeed, because their warlords are really, really good. And I would actually go as far as to say Gordrang and Gaskul both go into the get it ASAP priority. What I do not understand, however, one thing that I do find it like a little bit difficult to understand is which one comes into first priority, right? It usually depends on the meta. While Gordrang is currently stronger than Gaskul, there are situations where Gaskul can be stronger. So I would say both of them going to like get it ASAP priority. It's just that you get the one that you really prefer. If you prefer to have like more of a control build, you go for Gaskul. If you want more aggro, you go for Gordrang. But both of them are like very, very good warlords. Now, when it comes to the Rock Invasion would actually go into the second priority. It's a win game button, basically. You press it, it drops Orks. If you get Orc Knob, you're basically in a really good situation. Even if you don't get Orc Knob, at 12 energy, you can drop it together with, I think Crump the Gits is the card that gives everything flank. So Very, very strong. It can also give you extra Makaris. So yeah, it's honestly speaking, I just think that this is a card that can just easily win you the game. So it definitely goes into a second priority for me. Archel Gurk actually is a pretty good card once again, but I'm gonna put this in situational, I guess. Not situational. Actually, it's really hard to say. I would go as far as to say that this is second priority, while the big chopper knob is situational. The difference between these two guys is that Archel Gurk is a vanguard with armor, and if you play this unit on a control deck against Eldar, for example, they usually have a very hard time dealing with it. So I think this can definitely go into the second priority of crafting, because I think it's a very good frontline unit. Big Chopper Knob is also really good, but the problem with Big Chopper Knob is that he doesn't really do anything outright when you drop it. It doesn't protect you, it doesn't grant the instant value, and usually he's just gonna get smashed very easily because it has very low ranged attack as well. The good part, however, is that it's concussive, but I would say that Archel Gurk is still the better option. But once again, it's a similar situation. Gurk is better for Gaskell, while Chopper is better for Gordrang. So go figure. I think Mechboy Gazmek is going to go into I have extra crystals. He's still good. I don't think that he's bad. It's just that when it comes to comparing it with other Orc legendaries, I think he has the short end of the stick. He has that very good effect for vehicle orcs, but I just don't think that he makes the cut because he's way too slow. It's way too RNG dependent. You don't know which vehicle is going to hit, and vehicle orc is not that good to begin with, so he goes onto the bottom of the priority. However, both Orknob as well as Makari are gonna go onto the top, like, first priority here, because Makari is like one of the best legendaries in the game. You can never go wrong by having this card. If you get this on turn 1, you essentially increase the chances of your victory like very, very high, like by a lot. And Orknob is the same situation. It's a unit that gives everything flank while also having flank itself and has pretty good stats. So there's no reason why you wouldn't want to run this. With Prophet of the Wa, I would say it could go into second priority because Prophet of the Wa is a command bridge basically from HHL. It gives you very good consistency. It gives you the ability to get your hard removal. It gets you the ability to get your rock invasion. So it really increases the consistency of your deck. So it's definitely something that I would even put above rock invasion in this sense. Pyromaniacs, pretty situational, goes into the situational tier. For Gordrang, you really want to have this because it really works good with Gordrang because it gives him cleave, gives cleave to his stun basically, which means everybody he affects with that cleave or blast as we call it in Warpforge is going to get stunned. So it's pretty good. Overall, I just think that is not as good as on other warlords as it is on Gordrang, so I think it goes into situational unless you are specifically pushing to get Gordrang. Now, Orks have better legendaries in total than Ultramarines, and that's why they have more high priority legendaries, so yeah, there's that. Now, the next one are the Eldar, and Eldar is actually a tricky case. They have some very good legendaries, while they also have some pretty bad legendaries. Iliak is the first warlord that's not going to go into ASAP. I would say he goes into second priority. Second priority because he's just a pretty good warlord. He opens up that aggro playstyle. He's nice, but he's not get ASAP because the best warlord that the faction has is definitely Medreal Galen. So there's really no reason to rush this guy with your first legendary. The worst legendary in the game, or at least is competing for that spot, a terrible legendary for 9 energy, doesn't do anything, requires a ton of spirit stones, doesn't have a lot of health even though it has armor, absolute trash. You never really want to play this. The only time you can play this is if you play on the Anvir Keltalk and you draw this through your Reclaim the Star. Too much RNG involved with it because when played from hand, this is absolute crap. So this goes into never craft tier, or like just get it if you have everything else. Wailing Doom is gonna go into the first priority. This is extremely important. You want to have this because this is your finisher. This is a card that every Eldar deck must include because that 8 damage to the face is just huge. It's something that you really, really want to including all your decks. Host of Chaos, sorry, not Chaos, Host of the Dead goes into I have extra crystals. It's not bad, but it's not that good either. It's very, very situational. Doesn't work often. If it works, then it's really good, but mostly it's a meme more than it's an actual good card. Now, yeah, sure, I know some of you might say, but this has won me so many games, but trust me, anytime you're playing in the competitive game, basically when you're playing in the top 50 or top 10, you're not going to see this played a lot because it's just way too slow and just has a way big condition to give you a full payoff. So yeah, overall not that good, but definitely not trash. Spirit Seal Kalinaris could go into second priority because it's pretty good. It's just like Iliac. It's really nice to have, even though it's not like the top priority. It's always nice to have this card around because it's a good stat line and it has a great ability for those waystones. So definitely a big threat. However, these three are all going into the top priority. Reason for that being, this is extremely powerful. It can deal 8 damage, one of the strongest stealth units. Dance of Death just permanently buffs your Warlord with Shuriken 2, which is absolutely insane. Get that on Iliac and you're dealing 5 damage per turn with his ability. And Fireheart is of course good because it's a flanker with invulnerability buff for adjacents. So really, really, really good. So these are the 4 legendaries you really want to prioritize for your Eldar because they complement your aggro gameplay style, which is effective on them. These are the other ones that are pretty okay. These two I would avoid in general unless I have the extra crystals necessary. Now, if you're playing Necrons, the very first legendary you should be getting is Imhotep. It has always been like this. He has been their strongest tool like since forever. His ability is brilliant. His health is very good. And overall, he complements the Necron gameplay style like very, very well. Which, of course, also includes Tomb World, because there is no Imhotep without a Tomb World. Tomb World, even though received 2 nerfs, now it drops 5 units instead of 6, and it costs 9 instead of 8, is still one of the best legendaries in the game, because it drops all of the good units that you basically played during the game. If you build your deck correctly, Tomb World is always going to give you great value. So this is something that you definitely want to prioritize. These are the 2 cards for Necrons that you put in your first priority. Now, Vargard Oberon could definitely go into second priority because it's a good late game card that really does provide that soft front line, and Necrons really have the ability to replay this guy many times. Like you drop it once, then Tomb World, then Reconstruction Protocol, then another Reconstruction Protocol. So this can really become a serious block for the opponents whenever they're trying to go for your Warlord. So definitely a second priority right there. Necron Lord, however, is more situational. It's a good card, but it doesn't really do anything when you play it. If you do play it and if it survives, it's great, of course, and it's good if you bring it from the Tomb World, but whenever you're playing it, it really doesn't do anything. It's similar to Big Choppa Knob. It can grant value, but it's not that good overall. I think the Chronomancer is a very questionable card, to be fair. I would put this in second priority, I guess, because he's really good overall. You can play him on Imhotep. You definitely want to play him on Nemesaur. So it's a good card. Nice stats, nice ability to resurrect. Good passive, does leave a remnant. So yeah, overall a nice investment. I think Oberon is a little bit better if you're playing the control game. But if you're playing the Swarm game, you definitely go for the Chronomancer. This is not good. So a lot of you might think it is, but it is not. Like, how many times have you actually seen this being played? Because it's only for Nemesaur, and you just lose the whole game, not the game, the whole turn. It's basically the experimental drones from Tau, but instead of giving shield to whatever you play, it gives shield to remnants. So not that good. Not that good. Pretty slow. Very, very situational. Not trashy, but very, very situational. Same for Ophidian Destroyer, to be fair. Like, it does have, it's better than what it used to be. Once again, maybe it can go to situational together with Necron Lord, I guess, because now you can control what it attacks. It can be a nice aggro tool, I guess, but once again, it's super situational because you really don't know what exactly you really don't know if this is ever really going to be useful. Like in some situations it's very useful, in some situations not. So it's kind of unstable. I guess that's what the main problem with it is. Resurrection Orb would go into the second priority, maybe higher than Vargard Oberon even, because once again, you can use this on Nemesaur, you can use this on Imhotep, you can use this on Sun Oricon decks. So yeah, pretty good card overall. I just don't place these guys in first priority because these two are the two legendaries for Necrons that you just want to get like as soon as you begin the game, unless you have something against playing control. So yeah, that's my take on the Necrons. With Chaos, obviously Abaddon also has to go into the highest tier because Abaddon is their go-to warlord currently and has been, because 40 HP, the ability to heal himself, increases HP, I mean, or give Dark Pact to his troops. Like, this guy is everything you really want in your Chaos Warlord. Bulky, can heal, has sustain, has the ability to synergize with most of Chaos cards. So yeah, there's literally no reason why you really don't want to get this guy. Unfortunately, something that I really can't say for Galaron. Galaron is very situational. There are things that he is good at, like he's good at against the Tau because he can really destroy the drones easily with his ability and draw cards. But the problem with Galaron is that not only does he have less HP, but he also has very bad synergy with Chaos cards because he doesn't have ways of giving Dark Pact. And that really hurts him, I think, and really that just sets him apart from Abaddon, who is just way stronger than he is. So you might want to stay away from Galaron for the time being, but definitely not a trashy type of unit. Iskandar Kaon is going right together with the Avatar of Cain, and don't you guys start saying, but you know, if you play him from Black Crusade, yes, but this is like a definition of a win more card. You just drop it, he does nothing, and then you hope that he survives. If he survives, then you're winning. But if he survived, you were winning already because you had a 10 ranged attack card on the board anyway, right? So yeah, the only time this guy is useful when you get is when you get him from Black Crusade, but that also means there are chances you're holding this guy in your hand. There are just not enough situations where this guy can be useful. Unfortunately, he needs a similar buff to Sicarius, which is to either get like Codex, not Codex, or Rally or something like that. My suggestion was to give him the ability to choose and put a Black Legion's tactic that you played in your hand, and maybe it costs like 4 less or something, I don't know. So, or for example, Rally, give a Black Legion psychic power and it costs 0. I don't know, like you could give him so many things, or you could have put 3 Black Legion psychic powers in your hand or something. So he should be able to provide some value. The way he is, and with no instant value, he's just not good. Drachnian is going to the second priority. Unfortunately, like, this is a very important card. I'm saying unfortunately because, like, if you don't have it, it's really hard to play mirrors with Chaos, because the first guy who gets this really is gonna win, because 6 damage on your Warlord, that's just a lot. So Drachnian is certainly a very powerful card, which also does enable the Chaos one-shot gameplay as well, which is really, really good. The second priority, once again, is also going to be the Dark Apostle, because Dark Apostle sticks for at least 1 turn. It provides colossal value, and unlike Iskandar Kaon, it's only 6 cost, which means you could trigger its Artifice, which means that it will start providing value on the turn that it is played. Let's say you got Abaddon's Chosen plus this. For 7 energy, you can create something that the enemy cannot remove due to giving it camouflage, and then it just keeps getting more and more value, which is just really, really, really good. Leorvine Ukris is also second priority, so it's actually pretty funny. Chaos do have a lot of good legendaries, but they also have a lot of trash legendaries as well. I just think Leorvine Ukris is not as important as these guys. Maybe get situational. I would say Leorvine Ukris gets into situational together with Galaron, but just is better than Galaron. It can really be good, like it can really win you the game, but Chaos really do have better 5-drops. For example, they have the Harbinger of Decay, as well as they have the Executioner, which is also really good. So it's really not a top priority legendary. Demonic Pact goes into trash once again. It's an absolute crap. Like, there's no reason to run this. Too slow, cost too much, and also, like, it's invulnerable for only one turn. So there's really no reason to run that. However, Possessed Champion, Galeron's Champion are both top tier legendaries. Possessed Champion, you need to get as soon as possible. It's a 4 energy 5/5 flank that gets Dark Pacts. This thing is super dangerous. And Galeron's Champion is just overall really good. Good stats, instant value, then great talent. So if you play this and the opponent can't remove it, they're going to have a very tough time. And I would also say Dark Oratory will also go into one of the top priorities because it's just really, really good to be able to choose a Dark Pact and give to all your troops. So yeah, I would say Chaos do have 4 very good legendaries. They also have 2 really good legendaries, like quite good ones. 2 ones that are situational, but they also have 2 trashy legendaries. So yeah, it's an interesting division of legendaries right there. Now, next we have the Tyranids. Now, the Tyranids are pretty interesting. Swarmlord is definitely their best warlord. He has always been their best warlord, and I think he will always remain the best warlord until they change something, because having 3 attack is always like huge with 40 HP, even though he has 1 ranged attack. Unless he's like severely countered by something, he's just really good, because you can take out 3 HP opponents without wasting any energy. Most warlords that can do that do it through a ping, which means they waste energy. While this guy just does not. And his ability, the Hive Commander, is also really good because it just buffs the Tyranid troops, combos really well with Synapse. So a really, really nice warlord overall, if you ask me. Gets into like first priority, undoubtedly. I would say the Terror of Undergust can go into the second priority. I've been underestimating this guy. He has a pretty cool aggro playstyle. Unlike popular beliefs, he is the aggro warlord, not Swarmlord. Swarmlord often refrains from attacking in certain matchups, while Vandergast just goes face like crazy because he's just totally built to be an aggro warlord. Good against flying units as well. Winged Tyrant is something you get when you have extra crystals. He has a cool ability. It's really nice, but it's really not that crazy. Right now I built a Terragon deck that uses this guy, but it's not that good, okay? So I wouldn't really go around wasting my crystals on that when I can get some other stuff. Like, same goes for Hive Tyrant. But Hive Tyrant I think is a little bit better than the Winged Tyrant, because am I being unfair here? I think I'm being unfair. I would put these guys in situational, actually, not I have extra crystals, because they can be quite alright. This is very similar to Necron Lord. If it sticks, it can bring like really, really good value. Problem is, mostly it's not going to stick. And unlike these guys, it comes into play much earlier, so it's a big deal. And this guy can be really good. You can play this into Rapacious Hunter, you can play this into High Fleet Leviathan. So yeah, there are some good things you could pull with these guys, but still don't go into the higher priority of crafting. Now, Broodlord is definitely get ASAP. This card has been nerfed recently, and even after the nerf is just like amazing. Double Synapse is crazy good. It really enables those one-shot combos, and even enables like getting huge amounts of health on your warlord. So yeah, definitely no reason not to craft this right away. I would say High Fleet Leviathan goes into I have extra crystals. I'm using this currently on my Tervigon, comboing it with Winged Tyrant, but overall too slow to be very useful, and only useful in certain situations. You can just play with double Overwhelming Swarm instead. But if you can play it, it can be pretty good. It's not trashy, obviously, but it's not really that good either. I think it's just a subpar choice. I would put Neurotyrant in the second priority. I've been enjoying this guy a lot because the stat line on this thing is just nuts. The ability is good, gets Synapse, is flying, so you could potentially play this for 4 energy, and if it survives, it's just insane. So yeah, I really like this unit, even though a lot of people are not using it for some reason. I find it very good on my Neurothrope control, so I definitely put this in second priority because it's a pain in the butt. Ravenous Hunter, Infinite, as well as Tyranid Prime are gonna go into first priority for me, because Ravenous Hunter is that one-shot combo that you really have. Actually, Tyranid Prime goes into second. but on top of second, because Ravenous Hunter is that main card of the Tyranids. There's no Tyranids without Ravenous Hunter. That's your finisher. That's one of your most important cards. You can synapse it to give multiple units Bloodthirst, so it's really good. Infinite Biomorphology is also really good, especially after it got buffed to 2 energy. Play this at the start of the game, and if you roll something good like armor or stealth, you're halfway to winning the game already. So really good. Same with Tyranid Prime, like it's really good stats, good passive, but is kind of vulnerable and rather easy to remove, like Antaro Kronos. The only difference is that he has better stats with 5-4, and if he does survive, you can keep synapsing, buffing it, making it stronger, while you cannot do that for Antaro Kronos. So it's definitely better, and it really has synergy with both Synapse as well as Swarm, making it a valuable unit. So yes, there's the Tyranids. As for the Tau, Shadow Sun, I would go ahead and say she goes into craft ASAP. She's really good. I would consider her to be the best warlord for the Tau currently, especially if you don't want to play crappy drones and you want to play like battle suits. 40 HP, good ability, very flexible, so gets to survive as well as push aggro, so a very good warlord to play for battle suits overall. Together with Long Strike, obviously Long Strike is like bullshit even today. Like the ability, even the nerfed rally ability and his flank with 7 ranged attack, this thing can help you take out 2 units instantly. Drop this, give 1 unit marker light, your warlord takes it out using marker light, and then this takes out something else. Huge tempo swing. Not overpowered though, I think, because Tau really don't have many other ways of coming back now, at least. So this is like really good. Definitely your first priority for crafting. Onshi is going to go into the second priority. Pretty strong card overall. Even if you play this from hand, it's a pain to deal with. 6 energy, 6/7 with shield, and has a passive that makes troops cheaper as well as Syrian Unifier. So it's just overloaded. So overall, there's no reason not to use this guy. With experimental drones, I'm going to put this into situational. This is, of course, good only into the drone decks. So it has a similar thing with Battlefield Supremacy. This is only good if you play drone decks, no other way. So I would put this into situational. The Ethereal Supreme, Honored Ethereal, I mean, goes into the second priority. Very good drop even after the stat nerf. With Syrian Unifier, Shield, and good Vanguard passive. No reason not to get this. Same with, I would say, Darkstrider. Really good, 3 energy, 3/3, with a good talent as well as a good rally to stealth your drones. And as for these 2 legendaries, they go into top priority because Emergent Dispensation is a huge energy cheat, which is nuts. In the early game, you play this, and next turn you play Onshi. Yeah, you won the game in most cases. In the late game, you play this into Long Strike at 8 energy. You pulled the Long Strike that you didn't have in your hand. So super powerful. For the greater good, of course, is good because this is a defensive ability. You can target your warlord with that, giving him 3 armor, so making it your warlord close to invincible. And you're also protecting your other units, potentially setting up your finisher with Storm of Fire as well as marker lights. So yeah, priority targets. So definitely you want to get this as well. This is actually one of the 2 legendaries I'm missing in this game currently, one being this and one being this, and I really want to get this one. Sisters of Battle. Now, Sisters are a tricky bunch. Morven Val definitely is going to go in to get it ASAP, once again, because you guys do see that pattern, in most cases at least, that 40 HP warlords are really good because they have 40 HP, but she also has a very good prayer that really puts her in a great synergy with Penitence, and Penitence really is the way to play Sisters currently. Erica, for example, plays more for prayers and gathering faith, but I think Morven Val just has an advantage over her due to her cool ability, as well as she has like a very nice way to push aggro with Righteous what's it called again? I don't remember what it's called, but anyway, it gives +1/+1 to everybody, including the warlord. So you also get to take out 3 health units if you need to panic. So yeah, that is what it is. Really good. Triumph of Saint Catherine is very situational, if you ask me. It's better than Kato Sicarius because when you drop this, you can instantly pray with your Warlord and gain 1 armor. So technically, it still gives you 1 armor, which means instant value on your Warlord. In most cases, that's how it's gonna work. You can bring her back. She's hard to kill because she has 2 armor, and she has a nice pray ability as well, but overall, like, more she sticks around, the stronger your Warlord gets. But overall, still pretty slow because it's 9 energy, comes into play too late, so usually you might have lost the game when this already happens. Saint Celestine is a problem. Saint Celestine also is going to go into situational, and you guys might be surprised because an invulnerable unit is really good, right? Well, yes, but she's completely overshadowed by the Mortifier because the Mortifier is just a better card. Better stats, terrifying ability, and is not countered by just being stunned. So if Celestine is played, she gets the invulnerable, but if she gets stunned, which usually most units have, she doesn't really do anything. If Mortifier gets stunned, there's still a chance of you pinging it with Morven Vol, dropping like a Arcoflagellant, like playing the Spirit of the Martyr. So there's like a lot of things that you can still do. So it's a threat always on the battlefield. Celestine is a little bit subpar compared to that. Now, when you're playing the Sisters, you do need your Divine Intervention because, like it or not, this is your hard removal. And yeah, even though getting 8 faith is difficult, you just need to have this. This is like something that is crucial, even though doesn't seem like it's crucial. The problem is that there's not many legendaries that are just better than this. I would say Astrid Thurga goes into second priority. She's really good. 5 energy, 5/6, very good stats. She can provide instant value as well through shielding. Usually it just dies the turn you play, but if it does survive, it can become a menace. So definitely a second priority legendary. Hallowed Martyrs goes into first priority because if you play this on curve, in most cases you're able to maintain very strong board control. Like you have this means that every time your opponent attacks, it pings them, so it's good anti-stealth, good anti-drone synergy. So yeah, pretty good card. Only problem with this is that in Sisters Mirrors you don't want to play this. It's a burden because there's mortifiers on both sides. So, and if you guys don't know, when a mortifier is played and you damage it, it attacks your Warlord, then your Warlord pings it, then it attacks again, then pings him, and you basically get pinged for 18 damage or something. So yeah, Howled Martyrs is something to be very wary of in Sisters Mirrors. Amalia Novena, probably also a number 1 priority because that rally to deal damage equal to faith is good. Even if you have 1 faith, it's still a 3 energy 3/4 rally deal 1 damage, which is really good. It's like, if you guys remember last rifle section from HHL, 3/3, a card that was 3/3/3 and rally deal 1 damage, it was one of the best cards. So obviously this is still a really, really good card and can act as a very hard removal in the late game as well. And finally, we have the Rite of Restoration, which still goes into second priority, I would say, because a really powerful legendary card that can bring back some scary stuff like Mortifiers, Saint Celestine, Triumph of Saint Catherine. And very interesting thing about Rite of Restoration is whenever you bring something back, they trigger the faith ability if you have enough faith. So let's say you play a what's called the 10 energy thing that they have. Exorcist. Yeah, you play the Exorcist. It does its AoE damage through faith. Then the enemy removes it. Then you replay it with this, and it'll shoot the AoE again. So that's something to keep in mind because it can combo really, really well. So, guys, this is my take on the legendaries. Tell me what you think, if you agree or disagree, and what your opinion is on all of this. So, yeah, hope this was useful to you, and I'm waiting for your comments. Ecclesiarch out.